Hi parents, it's Mrs. B again. Um, I'm here with this week's word work information for you to help you understand what we're doing in school and help you perhaps carry some over into what you're seeing at home as well. So teachers are still focusing on some of those foundational skills right now in their word work. And some of that has to do with syllables. Syllables are the number of chunks of sound patterns in a word. So, for example, Behringer has 3 syllables. Elephant, 3 syllables. Pizza, 2 syllables. So it's the number of beats, and we have students clap to find those syllables. As students become more proficient readers, obviously they're going to have words with more and more syllables. One of the foundational skills that teachers are practicing this coming week is the idea of blending. When we were kids, and I've been around a lot longer than you might think, but when we were kids growing up, we were told to sound it out. And I kind of used that phrase last week until I could tell you what we're introducing to the students. It's called blending. We're blending the sounds. We don't want them to just say each sound separately. We want them to blend them. So students will be practicing that in the upcoming week. And you might think, well, why is that important? Let me give you an example. So, for example, this example here would be tam. They're going to be practicing with those shorter words first, blend the sounds. Now, is that a real word? No. And I want students to have experience with not real words, because sometimes not real words are actually part of syllables. So we call them nonsense words. So a nonsense 3-letter word is actually a syllable in a word that a 5th grader might see in their reading or hear in their reading or in discussions in class. So in order to read this word with how many syllables? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 syllables. In order to read a 5-syllable word, they have to be able to blend the sounds in each syllable and understand how that syllable works. This particular word has what we call open and closed syllables, and I will explain that in a future word work video for you. So the decoding of this is going to be a little bit more tricky than a word that they've seen before. But this is the kind of word that they're going to come across in their reading. And if they can't blend the 3 letters first, then this word is going to be overwhelming and frustrating for them. So we're practicing the blending of sounds. So when you hear me say blend the sounds, I mean sound it out like we learned back in the day. Blending of the sounds for short pieces of words, word chunks, so that when they get to the longer words, and here's an example of some 5th grade multi-syllable words that kids may find in their reading. So then when they get to this, they can actually blend those sounds, those phonogram chunks. They wouldn't be able to do that unless they know what blending is. We don't want each sound separately. We want them to put them together. Because if you're saying this all separately, it's d, e, k, n, t, m, I, n, n, t. What's the word? I don't know. Right? So we want them to be able to take those chunks together. Tam. Oh, this is con, tam, in, and decontaminant. And they will be learning those strategies with multi-syllable words. So it seems like it's a foundational skill that doesn't make sense for students in our school, but it does, because they're going to be applying it to words that they're going to come across, multi-syllable words, those big long words that they are going to have. So the upcoming week's focus is syllables, multi-syllables, hearing the sounds, because remember I said speaking is something that is natural to humans, communication is natural to humans, reading and writing are human inventions. So they have to learn the code for that, but first you have to hear it. So they will be hearing syllables, practicing how many syllables are in words. Then they will be practicing blending sounds. Then they can practice blending sounds in multi-syllable words. It's all a process and steps. So that's what's coming up in the next word work. And as always, if you have any questions or concerns or would like to know more, I'm happy to talk to anyone. Give me an email, give me a call. Happy to talk to you. And one last thing, something that you can do at home. When your child's reading and they get to a word and they want to give up, let's just say this word predominantly is in their text. It could be a book that they've chosen. It could be a fluency passage that they brought home. It could be science reading. It could be a lot of different things. Predominantly, how can you help? You're no longer, you're going to say, not sound it out. Nope, Mrs. B said not to say that. Blend the sounds. Let's find out part of the word. With students, I will often just cover up parts so they don't have to see the whole thing. Let's just look at the first three letters. How do you think we'd say that? Blend those sounds. Per, E. Okay? Let's do the next three sounds. How would we do that? And you can cover them up with your fingers or have them cover up each syllable chunk and blend those parts and then blend them together. So when you're listening to your child read and they come across a word that would be frustrating or they can't figure out, they are not allowed to skip it. It's probably a word that is important for the meaning and the comprehension of the story. Instead of skipping it and moving on, we're going to take time to not sound it out, but blend the sounds in that multi-syllable word. Once they've gotten that, have them go back and read the whole sentence. Reread that sentence again with the word in it. The more times they read it, the more it will become then a sight word, a word they know by sight. It won't happen immediately when you've got a word like predominantly. Adults can do that because we've seen it enough times, but the first couple of times, probably not. But we want them to have that strategy of blending the sounds for multi-syllable words when they come across them. So again, if you have any other questions or concerns, let me know.